And now we are at the right side of the accessory or free end of the diesel engine. Here you will find the crankcase pressure reset. This is the only manually operated reset found in the engine room. Other diesel engine protective devices are reset automatically or can be reset using the display on the engineer's control stand. These include protective devices such as engine overspeed, low water pressure, and low oil pressure devices. Like all other EMD locomotives, the engine water fill, water level gauge, and main water drains are accessible from this area. Further up, we have all the same components we saw on the left side. And now here's something you won't find on other EMDs, the air start motors. Because of the size of this diesel engine, the electric starting motors may need a little help turning over the engine during starts. Two air-operated motors provide that help. You need about 80 psi of main reservoir pressure to operate these motors. Eventually, EMD plans to replace this system with one that utilizes the companion alternator to start the diesel engine.
That's all there is to see out here. Let's go up into the cab and take a look around. At first glance, you might not notice any difference from our SD60i locomotives. Everything is laid out the same. Controls, seating. Let's take a look at the displays.
You may have seen these before. This is the new AAR screen format. It's a little different from what you may be used to. There are two displays, the operations display and the setup menu display. The operations display contains all the information you need to operate your train, such as speed, power, amperage or tractive effort, and air brake information. The setup menu display can be used for setting up the electronic air brake components, setting up your EOT code, or setting up and using the slow speed control system. Or it can be used for diagnostic information and reset functions. When the screen select switch is set in the both position, the right screen will show the operations display and the left screen will show the setup menu display. In the event of a screen failure, the switch can be used to move the operations display to the right or left screen, in which case the functions and data of both displays will be combined into one. Let's take a closer look at the operations display. Located in the top center portion of the screen, you'll find speed and a graph that shows your rate of acceleration or deceleration. The top left portion of the screen is air brake information, such as brake cylinder, main reservoir, airflow, rear brake pipe pressure, equalizing reservoir pressure, and brake pipe. The top right portion of the screen is information on power or dynamic brake amperage or tractive effort on the SD80MAC. Throttle or dynamic brake handle position and reverser position is also shown. The next area down is for the indicator lights, such as wheel slip, PCS, alerter and air brake fail. The next section of the screen is for locomotive status, air brake status, and crew messages. The very bottom of the screen is the menu for the function keys, or the buttons. The setup menu display normally shows a menu for set EOT ident code, set slow speed control, change air brake setup, and select additional menu items, which can be selected by using the function keys below the item you wish to select. Locomotive status, diagnostic information, and reset functions can also be handled through this display. Let's take a closer look at the rest of the control stand. The layout is similar to the SD60i's control stand. However, some of the switches have been moved for easier reach. The throttle dynamic brake controller and the air brake controller have also been moved a little closer to the engineer. On the left-hand side of the control stand, referred to as the control and switch panel, you'll find the engine run switch, generator field switch, control and fuel pump switch, dynamic brake control circuit breaker, headlight switches, screen select switch, and the ditch light on-off switch. There is a built-in clipboard for your orders. The horn, bell, and sand switches are located in the center area of the control stand, to the left of the reverser throttle dynamic brake controller. On the right-hand side of the control stand is the air brake controller for the Epic 3102 brake equipment. This equipment is identical to the Epic equipment found on our SD60i's, and its setup, cut in, cut out, and operations procedures are also the same.
Let's go take a look at the engine control panel.
On the engine control panel, you'll find headlight control switch, the isolation switch, EFCO or the emergency fuel cutout switch, dynamic brake cutout switch, number light and marker light switches. New to this panel is a device that allows the EFCO button to be locked in to prevent the diesel engine from being started during certain maintenance procedures. The engine start switch is now also located on the engine control panel.
Remember we mentioned earlier the electric parking brake? Well, this is the control switch used to apply and release that parking brake.
It's very simple to operate. To apply the parking brake, first rotate the outer ring of the switch to the right to the apply position. Then push and hold the center button until the parking brake ammeter increases to the yellow applied zone, indicating that the electric motor has stalled and that the brake is fully applied. This takes about 60 seconds. To release the brake, follow the same procedure. First, rotate the outer ring to the left to the release position, then push and hold the center button until the ammeter moves to the blue release zone. This indicates that the brake has been released. Remember to follow the instructions in your EC99 for visually observing that the brake has been fully applied or fully released.
To the left of the engine control panel is the circuit breaker cabinet.
Inside, you'll find the battery switch and all the same circuit breakers found on the SD60, plus several associated with the AC traction system, the electronic fuel injection, and the electric parking brake. Just as with all EMDs, all circuit breakers in the black area must be on for the locomotive to operate. This locomotive is also